For a delicious dinner that disappears, pick up Latina Fresh. We got the weeknight. Welcome to the Institute.
.gov, we're seeing Biscuit Basin have a little bit of hydro. Something just struck the Pacific and coastlines. USGS coming out today, information that a lot of people aren't following yet.
Yeah, Di, the Wi-Fi dropped out. Can you hear me?
But we're getting out to you right now. On USGS.gov, we're seeing Biscuit Basin.
Oh, you got the number one
A
crown.
little bit of hydrothermal activity being released.
Cool.
And then, just today, Volcano Discovery reports a 5.1 earthquake right along the area of Latin America on the Cocos Plate. And this is important because it's under a subduction zone of North America's connected plates. And Live 5 News reported a low magnitude earthquake in South Carolina next to the coast, right along the fault line.
The United States Geological Survey has confirmed reports of an earthquake in the Somerville area.
Benzinga.com reports Lockheed Martin is about to go sea mining in the Pacific, and this is right while the following details have emerged from Nature.com that slab detachment zones have been confirmed in the Pacific areas. But that's not it. Nature.com also reported that the same zone they're going to be going to has ocean circulation changes and global temperature changes. Also, another fault along North America, Canada section, right next to Alaska. It is another zone that we have to talk about because it's all going to be points to where we can see where will people go. So today, for survivability, we're going to look at where is watch out zones. Where will people go from all the areas in these zones where the subduction areas for earthquake activity, and what are going to be the potential buildups we need to watch? First thing we need to watch is what Lockheed Martin do, because there are some concerns with them going down and sea mining right next to the red zone. It looks like they potentially will be closer to a yellow zone between the red zone, and this is going to be the Clariton-Clipperton Zone, CCZ. You can see this from USGS.gov's map. This is the area specifically they're going to be mining. And the question is, what are the risks of them mining these areas? What could be the situation if the sea is already overturned, the ocean circulation having issues right now? This is what you need to listen to. Deep sea mining can mess with Earth's conveyor belts that help regulate the ocean's temperatures at large. If we're seeing an increase in this already right now, the exacerbation of this could move it into a different cycle. And according to Polytechnique Insights, this will lead to further crustal stress and trigger more seismic events. But let's say they go into the yellow zone, they're not going into the red zone, they understand this, which most likely they do, then this won't be the prolonged scenario, but that's just potential situations in case something else was to happen. What do you think they're going to be doing? The timing was we had this Carolina earthquake, and then we had the Alaska earthquake.
If your health insurance list of extraneous extras makes you feel a little discombobulated, recombobulate with AHM's Choosable Extras. Start with the base bundle, then add the bundles you need. It's extra black and white. With AHM, you're good.
A lot of people didn't notice the one in South Carolina, but it sits on a very important fault line. And this really gets us down to a deeper story here. So if you look on screen right here, you can see the big yellow marker area right next to the coastline. This area is a potential zone where we're going to be watching over the next course of days, weeks, and months, because we've seen that the Ring of Fire was hit. As experts, geologists prepare for the activity of the Ring of Fire to increase, we saw Alaska get hit with a 7.3 off the coast just recently,
Wow.
and South Carolina got hit right on the coast while that happened. And then in the third region, we've seen Latin America get hit on the Cocos Plate. So what we're seeing here is specific zones along ocean areas start to see a little increase in activity, which is due to uptick activity in the Ring of Fire. Now we're going to talk about the signs to look for to build up. You need to subscribe right now, though, because we're going to be doing this every week, giving you alerts on danger zones, what to look for.
That looks interesting, Diane, that Sell Your Soul one.
So subscribe in mass, because we got a bunch of valuable information for you to be ahead of the crowd. Before we get into what to look out for and where people will go, State of the Planet Columbia.edu came out with the study about Queen Charlotte Fault that you can see right here on screen if you're looking right now. Here's what you need to know about it that a lot of people not seeing it, and it's going to affect exit routes, escape routes, survival zones a lot. So this is a major fault line coasted off British Columbia, Canada, and southeastern Alaska. It's close to where it got struck at recently. It's a right lateral slip strike fault similar to California San Andreas Fault, and is the boundary between the Pacific and North American tectonic plates. This fault is known for its high level of seismic activity and producing numerous large earthquakes. And this is based on USGS.gov, Queen Charlotte Fault mapping. Okay, so Yuma County officials said if the New Madrid situation happens, people are going to go west. So everybody northeast on the East Coast are going to go west. Everybody on the West Coast is going to go east. And the splitting between the lines there is going to be right in that middle zone, that upper middle zone, because a lot of flood-prone zones is along the coastline areas as well. These are going to be some of the most crowded areas. Am I saying all this is going to happen simultaneously? No. But I'm saying that once activity peaks and then something happens in one location, we could see things simultaneously slowly start to happen, not right away. But that leaves us to think the exit zones are going to be areas for us to think about that's outside the box. And then some of the outer regions of the southernmost areas, not along the Madrid Fault, could potentially be some of the areas where some of the outliers of people who don't want to be with the large crowds potentially would be. But determining what the situation is in the current moment is going to be exactly how we need to think about the scenario at hand. And what we're going to do is gather all the evidence and piece and bits of information from people on the ground and get information so that we can all look at this together. And in the comment section, coming up with our own best conclusions we think that will be the most survivable. So you're going to want to scroll through those comments and get information here. Subscribe, stay tuned in, because we have some of the smartest strategic movers and people around in all portions of the United States. And we confirmed that the videos coming out about Yellowstone animals leaving was not real, because it was somebody sharing older videos. The only activity we seen that was slightly strange from any animal.
Oh, okay, right.
We had to close the trail because a moose was acting quite strange.
New York. New York State has shut down a hiking trail in the Adirondack Mountains because moose are engaging in what officials are calling unusual behavior. According to the DEC, the Goodman Mountain Trail up near Tupper Lake is closed until further notice. Officials say that they believe at least one moose in that area may have an underlying illness. That animal did not respond to officials' attempts to move it from the area.
They don't really know. They said they think it might be sick. They're not understanding that. Guess what we're going to do, though? Over the next course of weeks and months, we're going to follow the emotional movements of animals. You want to know all of that? You need to be right here. We're giving you all the details, trying to hand it out to you. And don't let them hide this one. Something broke apart beneath the Pacific You can find a link to that in the live chat as we speak right now.
I was going to do that next, but I'll do that one you sent me first, Di.
Also, you'll find at the top of the comment section. Go there, click it in match. We get more survival zones, watch out zones, stay away from this and that. All of it. Go right now. Don't let them hide it at all. Wait, I got two more important things to show you before you walk up out here. This is going to be very valuable. First thing I advise, after this is over, you go back and then you screenshot and take photos of certain things that I said, because this is going to be a long-lasting piece of information. Secondly, they just did something to simulate situations that they believe is going to happen. This was just this month. Nobody's seen it yet, but we're going to get to it. Look at this map right here. This map also with all of the purple zones shows the population density. So I forgot to show you that, but it's showing where population is concentrated. Huge levels of population is going to be at. So screenshot this. You can navigate around this. Save this video to a playlist while you're listening to it right now, because I'm guaranteeing you this information is going to be prevalent years from now, months from now, weeks from now. Now, here's what they did. You can see on screen, University of San Diego today, engineers simulate an earthquake shape using these steel buildings. And you can see this was on July 8, 2025. So they're just now preparing a little bit more of the simulation. And I'm gonna let you see what some of this simulation looked like, because they are looking at certain buildings and the different foundational structures. And this can tell us a lot about how buildings are probably going to be geared towards and what they're specifically doing right now.
Wow.
All right, guys. So what they're simulating right now is on a Richter scale, about a 6.9. That number tells us that they are looking at 7.0s. This is close to the California area, UC San Diego. This is going to tell us that you can see these high-rise buildings a lot of people live in. Also, you need to make an exit plan and get out of those high-rise buildings if you live in some of those, because some of the bottom parts that will be blocked out, there will be nowhere for you to go at all.
Okay.
Whatever you think, there's a banana to make your body sing. There's the grab and go dance banana. And look,
face to face and are faced with a decision to either sell their. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard the myth of selling your soul to make it in the music industry, with many of the biggest artists in the world being accused of selling their soul to make it to the very top. But for the most part, most people don't believe in this and think this is all nonsense, something that cannot happen. But what if I told you that isn't the case? What if I told you that there are artists that sell their souls for fame and fortune? Artists who meet the devil face to face and are faced with a decision to either sell their souls to have the world or turn their backs on their dreams. This is exactly what happened to this aspiring artist who, right before she became one of the biggest celebrities in the music industry, was faced with the choice of either selling her soul to the devil or losing everything she worked so hard for. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos exposing the truth weekly. In today's episode, we will be talking about an artist's experience with the devil and how she almost sold her soul. But before we begin, I just wanted to let my patrons know that I already released a new Patreon exclusive. This Patreon exclusive is about the Iran situation, the Epstein cover-up, and how it all ties into the New World Order. If you're one of my members and you haven't seen that video yet, make sure you check it out after this one. If you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Join the truth movement and help me spread the truth. For $3 a month, not only will you get access to this video, but you'll get access to over 50 other videos, and you'll be directly contributing to me producing these videos. I have another Patreon exclusive that is dropping next week that you won't want to miss either. So if you would like to join, you would find the link in the description and in the comment section. I want to thank you all. Now, let's get right into it. Many people don't believe in selling your soul in the music industry. They think it's just a myth or taboo, something that just doesn't happen. But in reality, If you just take 5 minutes to examine the imagery coming from the music industry, you can literally see the devil oozing out of it. You can feel his presence surrounding the industry and how all of those at the top are forced to serve him. Nowadays, most people have abandoned their spiritual intelligence and instead reject any idea of there being a spiritual realm. But if you take a few moments to see how our world operates, you would understand that the spiritual world and the physical world are running concurrent. They often overlap with each other, and we often see situations where the spiritual world interacts with the physical world. And that's what happens often in the music industry. What most people don't know is that music is a very powerful weapon. In heaven, music was used to praise God. Originally, its design was to praise God in prayer. But after the fall of man, Lucifer hijacked music and used it to lead man away from God. Music was once to praise God, now it's to guide you away from God. In our current world, we are seeing this in full effect, as Hollywood over the years has gotten more and more satanic and demonic. People can't deny that this imagery has been on the rise. But why? If the spiritual world isn't real and the devil isn't real, why are there so many artists that seem to be worshiping the devil and praising the devil? Is it just for shock value? Well, like I've said a million times, it can't be for shock value because most people aren't shocked anymore. When people see satanic imagery nowadays, they just brush it off because it's something that they're used to. So what would be the purpose of an artist using satanic imagery? What would be the purpose of an artist dressing up as the devil, or like Doja Cat using open occult imagery? What's the purpose of any of it? If it's not real, if it has no effect on the audience, and the audience isn't surprised or shocked by it, instead, it might even repulse some fans to not want to consume that music because they don't like that kind of imagery. So what is the purpose of these artists pushing Satanism, demonic imagery, and occult themes through their music? Well, it all goes back to serving the one that gave them everything. If we take a look at the Bible, we understand that Lucifer tried to tempt Jesus Christ in the same way Lucifer tempts artists. He offered Jesus the world, told him that he would make him king and give him everything in this world. All he had to do was bow down to Lucifer. Jesus denied it, but unfortunately, most people don't. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say selling your soul is fake, because if that was the case, they would just sell their soul and they'll be rich tomorrow. That's not how selling your soul works. The devil is only interested in those that he has a mission for. The devil is only interested in those that he knows is going to be able to reach millions of people, that he knows is going to be influential. God has chosen several people and given them the ability to be able to sing, to make music, to act, to be able to reach millions of people and influence them. This ability, this power that God has given to these people is supposed to be used in a positive way. It's supposed to be used to direct people to God. And Lucifer, no,
They just look like big fools.
this. Lucifer, who's hijacked the world and hijacked Hollywood and the music industry, who's actually the creator of it, if you think about it, he knows this and he uses this for his advantage. Instead of having these artists that were meant to praise God and use their power for good, he's done flipped them, offered them the world like he did to Jesus, and now is using them to corrupt you. He's using these celebrities to influence you and guide you away from God.
Sweet seedless Australian Amaret mandarins, in season and exclusive to Woolworths.
So you've turned 45 and have early stage bowel cancer. You just don't know it.
Many people think that Satanist and Satanism and devil worship is you worshiping the devil and you going on the floor and praising the devil. Some people do that. But what true Satanism is, Luciferianism, is self-worship, worshiping yourself. And that's what the music industry pushes. If you take a second to actually think about what music is pushing to you, you start to realize that it's all about self-worship, seeing yourself as God, doing whatever you want. You're the only one that's right. You're the only one that matters. You have to have the flyest clothes. You have to look better than everybody else. You have to buy this expensive jewelry to prove that you're better than anybody else. All of that is self-worship, and it's designed by the devil to convince you to worship yourself. Just like in the story of Adam and Eve, how Lucifer approached Eve and convinced her to eat the fruit by telling her that if she ate the fruit, she would be like gods, knowing good and evil. It's the same technique that Lucifer uses through the music industry. And it's the same thing that we're seeing now. Exactly what we're seeing now. This is why BET and MTV, all they have is satanic music performances every year. Same thing with the Grammys. Same thing with the Oscars. All these places are in honor of the devil. The devil who gave all of them everything. There's tons of artists that are ultra talented and make great music. But when it comes down to it, they do not want to sell their souls. They do not want to work for the devil. And this is exactly what happened to this artist, Christina Chaney. According to Christina Chaney, she was an upcoming artist in the Miami area. She was actually succeeding and was establishing herself as an upcoming artist. According to her, she worked with big name producers who had worked with several big artists, even Michael Jackson, according to her. And she was in this lifestyle. Christina tells us that she was brought up in this Christian home, but that she wasn't fully devoted in being Christian. She wanted to be of the world and enjoy the pleasures of the world, and that's what made her lose her way. While she was in the music industry, though, she had this odd experience where her producer told her that if she wanted to make it to the next level, she would have to sell her soul. At that very moment, nothing actually happened. But then she tells us a few months later, while she was sleeping, she was actually approached by the devil, who made an offer to her. She says that the devil took her into this dream state place where she felt like she had left Earth, and the devil told her that he would give her everything she wanted. All she had to do was sell her soul. She even explains how the devil presented everything to her like it was a film. Just like essentially in the Bible it explains Lucifer showing Jesus everything that he can give him.
But I'm pursuing it, and my mom would come to some studio sessions with me and be praying under her breath. I didn't know that at the time. I know that now, but she again, it was still devil's music, but just make sure that she was covering me spiritually. And so again, I would ignore a lot of that. I would sometimes get friends sending me videos of so-and-so sold their soul to the devil. And he would just think it's tabloid stuff. So I would shoo it away. I'm like, this is crazy stuff. Until one day.
Come on.
Until the one day that it comes from the horse's mouth. And so I'm working with a producer who's worked with everyone. I mean, to name a few, Destiny Childs and Michael Jackson were his biggest artists that he's worked with. So he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And we're in a session one day and we take a break. And he's like, let's go for a walk. Now, this studio was in the basement of a hotel in Miami, and the hotel was under renovations. So we're walking around the suites, and we're away from everybody else. And he was a good guy, like nothing weird, but he's like, so let me say something. You know that if you sold your soul to the devil, you can have instant fame tomorrow? So now this just became real because it came from his mouth. And he's not saying it like a joke. This is real. This is matter of fact. This is, hey, if you did this, both of our careers will be on a whole nother level, because he was kind of blacklisted at this time. He was trying to get his career back up. And as soon as he said this, I fell on my knees. I felt the weight of my conviction. And I always say this, I felt like there was an angel that either stepped in the room or drew his sword, because I couldn't stand it, neither could he. He found himself on a chair, I'm on the ground, and I'm crying out to God, like, forgive me, because I had this relationship with God where it was like, I'll live crazy, and then before I go to bed, in case I die in my sleep, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness. Because it was that Jesus he died on the cross for your sins. So as long as you ask for forgiveness, you're good. That was my level of faith at that time, or understanding of it. So I would live, however, and then if anything scared me, if I was in a weird airplane ride, Lord, forgive me, I promise, whatever, just empty words. So I'm crying out, I don't know how long. I get up, I wipe my eyes, and he's sitting on a chair, like head down, arms on his knees, and we never spoke of that incident ever again. I don't think we said anything to each other. I think we just looked at each other and just walked back to the studio and continued working. But in my mind, I'm like, this is a real thing, that artists do this. This is apparently a real thing. So I have to maintain my Christianity, but yet I'm still pursuing this. So I formed my own righteousness. I'm like, okay, I won't do this. I won't show this much skin. I won't sing certain lyrics. So this is what I started to do.
Wow.
And that only went so far. So now I'm fully aware that people do this. And it's like, I felt like that opportunity, well, it was an opportunity, but that moment really lifted the scales and really showed me that it's all spiritual. I can't sleep at night because every time I go to sleep, I'm having a nightmare, or I'm waking up with sleep paralysis like that. You're fully awake, but there's something on me. What is on me? And I just know that there's power in the name of Jesus, and I'm trying to, in the name of Jesus. But I remember one night I'm in New York, and I partied all the time, and I smoked all the time. So I know what my body can handle at this point. And we get back to the apartment at like 4 a.m, go to sleep. At least that was the plan, was to lay down and go to sleep. But as soon as my head hit the pillow and my eyes closed, I was somewhere else. There was no drifting into sleep. It was just instantaneous. Here I am.
Your business moves fast, and growth opportunities wait for no one. You need
Where am I? I'm in outer space. Oh my goodness. Now, I've always had prophetic dreams. warning dreams, you know, of a boyfriend cheating on me, or always had these, like when my dad had cancer, I had a dream and saw the cancer demon. Like I've always had dreams. So I'm thinking, oh, because again, God is good and he'll still forgive me. So I'm thinking, whoa, God, thank you for letting me experience this, because it was more real than this whole room, than us having this conversation. It was so real.
It didn't feel fuzzy like
Literally, it was 5D, 10D. I don't know. It was so crisp and clear, and I didn't feel the need to look at my body because I just knew I was physically there. In my mind, I was physically there. So I'm looking at the stars, and there's this like frequency emitting, vroom, 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 like you could feel like everything was connected and bouncing off of each other. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Like I can feel the vibration that people talk about. I can feel this, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing the earth, and I'm like, whoa, that's the earth. But yet it looked just like a big body of water with the land. And I'm just like, that's interesting. And then I look, you know, past the earth, and I notice what initially looked like the sun. I'm focusing in on it, and it looked like just a suspended lake of fire. That's the only way I can describe it. And when I saw that, I'm like, the sun is shaped weird. Like that's not the sun. Excuse me. And as I'm looking at the sun, this being starts to come in focus, and he's huge, and it's the silhouette of this being, and he's just moving towards me. And I'm looking, he's huge in appearance, and I just knew this was God initially. This is a supernatural being. So I'm looking, and I'm like, God? Or no, I said, Lord. And he said, no, you know who this is. And when he said those words, fear was married with the words. And I immediately, I'm sorry, but I immediately thought, oh no, I missed it. Because remember, I'm always praying before bed, and I stopped. I'm like, oh no, I died in my sleep. Oh no, I'm going to hell. Oh no. Because the fear that with the words, no, you know who this is, the fear that pierced my soul, my being. I'm like, oh no. Like, no, it's too late. No, it's too late. I'm like, no, God, forgive me, Lord Jesus, forgive me for lying, forgive me for sleeping around, forgive me for ignoring. I'm just going through all the forgive me fors. Like genuinely, forgive me for ignoring you. Forgive me for ignoring you. And Satan, I'm just gonna call it who it is, because I didn't know any other demons. I didn't know any other devils. I just knew Satan. And he said, shut up. Like he was in a rush. And when he spoke, his words weren't audible. I felt them. Like they were, like it would vibrate. Like if you stand next to a big bass system, no, like it was very intense. If you worship me, I will give you all these things. Oh my gosh, I still feel it. Like, you know, in memory. And I just immediately looked to the earth, because the earth started to change. It started to show, like, project images of the things that he was offering. If I worship him, he'll give me fame, a relationship, whatever, a bunch of stuff. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I immediately felt this weird sense of peace, because I'm like, oh, this is my time to choose. And after he said what he said, I said, no, I'm the daughter of Christ. No. And he called me the B word. Like disgusted, B word. And then immediately I'm just up, like back in my body. And I'm like, did that just happen? Like I'm awake. Like I did not wake up and did I just leave my body and come back to my body kind of thing?
As you heard for yourself, Christina admits that she was approached by the devil in a dream state. And she tells us the experience she went through while the devil was offering her the world. She felt at first that it was God because she knew it was a spiritual entity and not a hallucination or anything like that. And honestly, I 100% believe this story. See, Christina isn't the first artist to admit this and say something like this. Triple X Tentacion, who actually sold this soul, who actually made it to the very top, he basically describes it in the same way. Some of you who have been watching me for a long time know that I have a very great video explaining how Triple X Tentacion sold this soul. I think it's about 2 years old now. I even put a clip of Triple X Tentacion writing down the ritual that he used to make a pact with the devil while he was in jail. He was on a jail call that leaked, and in the jail call, he's speaking to one of his friends that was into witchcraft, and that friend of his gave him a ritual, a sacrifice ritual, that he would have to sacrifice someone to be let out of prison. The ritual obviously worked because he went from jail to becoming one of the biggest artists in the world. Triple X Tentacion has a song called I Met the Devil in Miami. And in that song, he speaks about signing his soul to Baphomet. His own mother admitted that Triple X Tentacion was deep into the occult, deep into Satanism and occult worship, and how She even herself has been consumed by it ever since her son passed away. This is how the devil operates, specifically when it comes to a Christian or someone who was brought up in faith. Like I said, God chooses certain people. And it appears that Christina was one of the chosen ones that was going to be used by God to bring people towards him for music. But just like many other artists, she was corrupted and tempted by the devil by what he was offering her and the life that she could imagine having. This is what led her astray. The devil knew she had the power within her to lead many towards God. So what he does is he uses his power to corrupt that one person, knowing that that one person has enough influence to influence many more. This is why the music industry is the way it is. So no, not just anybody could be a successful, famous artist, because that's not what the devil wants. The devil doesn't make you a star. God makes you a star. What the devil does is shines the light on you and uses you to corrupt others. You are made a star by God. You're made talented by God. But the devil hijacks you and uses you for his kingdom. A lot of people also have this impression that you can't sell your soul because God owns your soul and you don't own your soul. This is not correct. Our soul is attached to our free will. The moment God gave us free will, he gave us control of our own soul. That's the moment that we choose what we want to do with our life, with our soul, with who we are. So if you choose to serve the devil or serve yourself, you are selling your soul. You are giving your purpose in life to the enemy and not using it to up God. Everything that we're supposed to be doing is supposed to be upping God. It's supposed to be helping people find glory, helping people find God, because most of us are lost. That's just the way it is. The devil has played so many games on people that people nowadays have no direction. And honestly, you can see how the music industry succeeded at corrupting mankind. Just take a look at the music that it pushes and how society has built itself around the music, and where we at to the point where people are the artists. Regular people have become whatever the music promotes. People have already adopted the lifestyle the devil was pushing through the music. Those that have been watching this channel from the beginning should know that I've concentrated a lot of my time exposing the music industry. This is one of the reasons. The music industry is a powerful weapon of Lucifer. He has been using it for decades to manipulate and influence and to lead people astray. It's the reason they give these artists millions of dollars. It's the reason they give them that lifestyle. It's the reason why we are so hyper-focused on them, because they were being used to influence you and to guide you away from God. This is why I always say that our souls are at stake and that we have to protect our soul and we have to make sure that we help others see the truth. Well, I'm going to end this one here. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay. Where was it? There it is.
5 on USDA.gov. What does it say? Something is definitely coming, and the USDA just did this. I'm gonna go deep into the plan, though, because a lot of people definitely ain't talking about what I'm about to go into. If you're alive, say you're alive. What's going on? I appreciate you for tuning in here. You can see US Gov to drop millions of flies to prevent flesh-eating maggots. U.S. will soon drop millions of flies. You can see that's from Fox News confirmed. Then you go to USDA.gov. We got the new screwworm domestic readiness response. We're about to talk about that. And it's already declared an outbreak. You look at July 17, 2025 on USDA.gov. What does it say down there? Central America and Mexico. They're already declaring this a outbreak, as you can see here. And we got some of the news agency as KWTX10. This is in Texas, one of the local agencies of news. They're talking about a new world screwworm, as if the Pacific plate breaking was not enough, the floods was not enough. But this is our next scenario at hand, and actually the floods help exacerbate the situations. They've opened up 8.5 million facility to combat. So the thing is now, it's like we gotta combat some worms, right, that turn to flesh-eating flies, right? And I'm gonna be giving you what to do, like what to look out for and how they actually interact and what you need to prepare for. And then look on screen right here. This is disgusting, but this was in Honduras where they're showing the New World screwworm. I'm gonna have to show you a little bit of the horror story. We'll get into that, but we need to cover what are they doing, why is this happening, and what is this sequence going to look like? And there's some other stuff that's tied into this that just wasn't talked about really, and we're going to find all that out right now. So let's go dive into the New World screwworm on the USDA website. So check this out. USDA recently, $21 million spent in Mexico production capability. Renovation of existing fruit fly production facility in Metapro, Mexico at full operation. This will provide an additional 60 to 100 million sterile flies. They send the flies as sterile. On top of the 100 million flies per week, 100 million produced at Panama, United States Commission. Hold on, man. They just said 100 million per week. They out of their freaking mind right now. I don't really care right now about anything anybody says this wild. The eradication and prevention of the screwworm facility in Panama, estimated time completion is 18 months to continue building collaboration.
And Diane, every day something important's happened, isn't it? It's that heavy.
Operation with Mexico contain NWS within the borders from ongoing daily technical conversations to regular conversations. So they're having all these conversations right now as we speak about what they're going to do next. If you're live right now and you think this is insane, give me a thumbs up and just say, man, insane or something like that. Let's get this chat flowing so people can come in and more people can get this stream, even if it is late. Now let's move into other things that people are not talking about. I'm going to get you into what you should be looking for. We got the full list, all of it, but you need to look at where it's going though. What's the facility? First, an effective eradication strategy centers on three main pillars: effective controls on the movement of animals, so they shut down border areas to effectively control it. Let's look at this right here, the cattle situation. Millions of flies will be dropped over Texas, but it's also going to be something that's part of America. U.S. again halts cattle imports from Mexico over flesh-eating screwworm. So that's how they control the flow of animals here. Now let's move back into this really important list. USDA.gov, strong surveillance systems and public outreach, the use of proven sterile insect technology and exploration of the use of proven sterile insect technology. Additional innovation strategy to defeat the pest. To achieve success, USDA will work across federal, state, local government partners with the public and private sectors to take the following.
We got this screwworm here as well. What it does, it drills into the wood, but it's got some sort of fungus on its back that poisons the tree, kills the tree. We got a bad case of that down in Melbourne.
Actions as part of a 5-pronged strategy. Now, getting into the next part here, this is where it starts to take a little turn, because now we got to talk about, okay, where in the United States are you going to be doing this? What's the facility? And what are your protocols? What is this new little thing that we haven't been hearing? Everybody's talking about, oh, the screwworm, they're going to drop flies on us. But let's look at this part right here. This is the official website saying this. USDA is exploring all options to eradicate NWS, includes potential expenditures in new technologies, new science, including possible plans to move forward with the design process of domestic sterile fly production. Wait a minute. I thought we were talking about just getting some flies to fight some more flies, but now you said new science and new technology. We're gonna release some new technology out here. But yeah, we just saying we fighting flies. Is that contradictory or what, everybody? Let's move a little bit more into this to get deeper into the something strange part. So the sterile fly production facility to complement the new dispersal facility at Moore Air Base, which has also been identified as the proposed location. The facility could boost domestic sterile fly production up to 300 million flies per week.
And Diane, every day there's something big happening in your links and what I stream. There's always something big happening every day. They're really going off about Trump in this list.
Man, this is the more I read this, because like actually I'll just scanned over and then live time right now. I'm having this interaction with you while we look at this together. Wait a minute. Let's read that really quick. It says the Moore Air Base. Let's look at something. What happened with the Moore Air Base? All right, so this is it's in Texas. It says Hidalgo County, Texas. Moore Air Base is inactive United States Air Force facility located 14 miles northwest Mission, Texas. It was inactivated in 1961. Well, wait, inactivated in 1961. Why was it inactivated now? Hold up, we need to figure out why was this inactivated? What's going on here? It doesn't tell us really, but all right, cattle fever tick research at the same place. Come on, they stopped doing it in June 1st, 2023. And here's a sign right here showing you USDA Moore Air Base plant protection quarantine. So they messing with the ticks over there. They're messing with the ticks over there. They're messing with the ticks over there. I don't trust all that. So we're gonna get to the little horror stories and everything else about what really happened to people. You'll be able to see that here in just a second. I'm gonna read a little bit more, but they're talking 300 million flies per week, y'all. He said it could complement current production that already exists in Panama, in Mexico, of his own sterile insect facility with USDA's recent 21 million spend, which will add between 60 to 100 million additional sterile flies to our effort. Man, they sent over an estimated 18 months, but they're just talking about way too many flies that they're going to be expanding. This is wild. People asking, what do they eat in the chat? We're going to get to all the different situations here. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about survivability of this. And I get it. Everybody's tuning into the earthquake stuff, all that. And, that's the big thing here. So if you're in the middle of your stream, something did break beneath the Pacific. I'll put a video out about that, and I'll talk about danger zone. That's in the live chat. You shouldn't watch anything else after this video. That's in the live chat. But here's the next thing you gotta look into. You shouldn't even leave yet. How to spot infestation. Let's get this down for you. If you're looking on the screen, fly with egg. This is on USDA website. Mass wound. So right there, you can see any warm-blooded animal, including birds, humans with maggots and wounds, other body openings like nose, ears, umbilicus, or genitalia are draining or enlarging. That's what they look for. They look for warm blood and stuff like that. Animals that have recently suffered from a wound or surgical procedure, wounds as small as a tick bites. So again, if a tick bites your animal or a tick bites you, these things can fly in and then come there and really try to let's first of all, I'm gonna go back to that. But before we get to that, you need to see the horror story, because actually they tell you what happened in Guatemala. In Guatemala, they came out talking about this man-eating screwworm and horror show in the hospital. The Telegraph came out with this. And the lady's up there and they're beaming up this torch up her nostril to try to get these worms out. And it's a paper tissue about a nerve. She winches at the pain and she has to blow it out of her nose. So they put a little torch. So they didn't burn her nose, nothing like that. But right. See, the screwworms, the neutralized natural population, create an artificial wall across South America. And
why are you following us?
Just chasing the dream.
What about your dream?
My dream.
To my left.
Follow that dream. Which one? Oh, that looks good.
Woolworths help bring the family together over delicious and affordable dinners. And right now, you'll find 10% off all Woolworths Australian beef mince. From the fresh food people.
Bloody ads.
The vast cattle herds of Texas ranches would be insulated from the flesh-devouring pests. And here's one of the dudes who had like 50 of them pulled out of his eye. Quite insane. 50 of them pulled out of his eye. This is getting out of control. That's what somebody says in the chat. This is definitely getting out of control. And then when I do videos about stuff like this, it's highly important. You see 174 people in here. I really don't care. As long as you share it out, as long as you like it, you get other people. Let's talk more now. Since we just talked about the New World screwworm, let's go back into this. You've seen what it do to people. All right, so a severe screwworm laces on dogs' neck. So screwworm infestations are very painful. Animals may become depressed, stop eating, separate themselves from other animals or people. So you need to make sure that you watch out for your animal in those moments. You need to make sure that even you watch out for yourself. You get an open wound or a bite if you're in Texas, and then you can expand outside of Texas. So let's not just sit here and be like, oh, it's just in Texas. It's just in Texas, because it'll get some people who come in who think that, oh, if it's just happening in one spot, then I don't need to worry about it. Or you're losing everything if you say that. Because they actually said across America when I was reading the articles.
That's a different worm than the one's going on down south. That's a different worm.
Infection may occur in a NWS infested wound. Left untreated, animals may die within 1 week of being infested. So you have to take care of this right away if that is the case. Egg masses may be around or in the wound larvae may be visible around the 3rd day of infestation. And you can see the little things on there. So what happened to the people in Guatemala? And here's what happened to the people in Guatemala when they got infected. And I'm going to show you this on screen right now, because this is what Telegraph said. The majority of the 20-plus admissions in the major city near Guatemalan borders have involved the most vulnerable, frequent people with open wounds, abscesses on their skin. It is a parasite which seemingly preys on the weakest. The screwworm fly needs only land briefly on any warm cavity or wound to lay its eggs and process so fleeting that a person might not even notice. So like a mosquito, it comes very silently in, and you might not even feel it, but I think you will hear the buzzing of a fly. Remember, this is a different species. People say like, oh, it's just a fly. When I was reading the thing, it was saying that it was a different species of screwworm, the blue one. So let's pull this up really quick on screen. Its size is 8 to 10 millimeters, twice the size of a housefly. You get the reddish orange eyes, metallic blue-green color with 3 black stripes on the thorax. And then some of them don't even look 100% like this one, because they were showing some of it. And again, like I said, there's new different versions of them that's coming out here. And then over the next couple of weeks, they're breeding them already. They're already breeding these other ones. And so now they're talking about how it can harm the cattle industry and the food industry. And so that's most likely going to drive up some prices on beef, especially since the imports and stuff like that, they're shutting off some of that at the border. And then here what they're doing with the animals is that the animals here, they have a group. Reuters came out July 11, So Reuters, they said they're training to detect the smell of screwworms. They said a flesh-eating pest that has infected Mexico's cattle herd and disrupted livestock trade with the U.S. So what we got happening now is dogs being trained, and I'm gonna pull that clip up too. We got dogs being trained. I think I have that clip of the dog like going around. So the dog is sniffing. Maybe if you have an animal and your dog is, trained to do all these things, you can do that. And actually, the clip, it's not even going to show it. Like I had the clip, but I don't even see it here off in the background for some reason right now. So here's what's happening. South Dakota lawmakers expressed concerns over lab-grown meat and screwworm disease. July 14, 2025. What can we do, though, also after this? I'm going to give a little bit more solutions. SKL says this place is insane. Yeah, it really is. Ruth says we are, in my opinion, about to enter the tribulation and zombie apocalypse.
Wow.
That's what's being said in the chat there. That's what people believe about this scenario, because it's really getting very bad. When it comes to the itchiness and everything else, I know my dog, I've used colloidal silver for my own dog when she gets itchy, and then parasitic stuff happen. I use the black walnut. On top of that, Not just that, also the BioShield protocol is the aero cleansing that I created here of parasites that can get on clothes, that can get on your body, to detox the lungs. And we talk about lactobacillus for the gut lining, but specifically the outer layers of the skin and stuff like that. The protocols actually go into all these different things for the household as well, because I think during this time, there's going to be a lot of people probably going into their houses trying to look these things. You see these things flying around, and I'm going to drop that link in the chat right now.
It's okay, my end, Di.
To buy JWTV, the BioShield protocol right now. And if you go and buy it, I'm still going to be live right now. And you want to ask some questions or something like that, you can email sjackson2447@gmail.com. So if you go buy that and I'm still live, and you have a question, I'll just come back and answer. While we're talking about this New World screwworm outbreak that technically supposedly emerged across the border about 6 or 7 days ago. And they were like, oh, we got to shut down the border. And they said, this is interesting because they said it was along migrant routes.
Wow.
There's a specific theme for warfare with insects. And the name of that is something, it starts with Indo something warfare. And I was telling y'all about this, and they actually was warning about this. They were saying, DARPA was like, oh, we're preparing for something to hit the food supply. And then they were saying, like, we got to biologically enhance the food supply. DARPA came out and said this, and that they were preparing for some security measures. I think this is what the security measures was about, but did they engineer the whole situation at hand? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves. And you gotta understand.
Diane, the estimation is it'll be down for 2 weeks, and when it comes back, we won't recognise it.
And that, like during Katrina, there was a huge parasitic uprising and infection and illness. That's why I know about all this stuff. So when we get all these floods happening, when we get all these storms happening, the flies, they're able to lay eggs and stuff like that. And these things can travel for miles. It's just like when a mosquito is in the water. You get the mosquitoes laying the eggs all around the water, and you got to go in your yard and figure out how to, get the water out of certain areas and kill the mosquito eggs, or you have a whole mosquito problem. Well, they can do that with these screw worms because they're technically maggots. They're going into a laboratory with, and they're going to be doing these operations. They're spending so much money to so-called combat. And that's the whole thing here, is it's all about, hey, don't look at us as the bad person. We're just going to go and combat this thing. We're trying to make sure everything is good. While that could be true on one of the flip sides, we know on the other side, there's always something else happening here. Let's read more for people tuning in. So here's what you look for the infestation, a little bit more.
Diane, I swear, I notice the days are getting darker quicker. It used to get dark in winter at 5:30, like pitch black. But the last few weeks, it's gone 5:10. It's been really black since then. And I did see on the net where they said the Earth's changed its spin a little bit and it's shortened the days. And I sort of already noticed that just on my own thoughts. But I reckon the world shifted a little bit.
So when the infestation happens, you have the animals have recently suffered from wound or surgical procedures, wounds as small as a tick bite plus track flies. You know what? I feel like you probably need to see it even a little closer than what it is right now. So I'm gonna try to pull this up. I'm gonna let y'all listen to the clip though while I'm trying to pull this up of them talking about this New World screwworm stuff.
While a screwworm may seem harmless, it is a threat to any living warm-blooded mammal. And if it continues to spread north into Texas, experts say an outbreak would be disastrous for the state.
They won't be able to stop this screwworm crossing borders. It's already too late.
The Texas Farm Bureau is one of many now keeping a close eye on the screwworm, which Tracy Tomasic explains has spread farther and farther north over the last couple of years.
The New World screwworm is currently about 600 miles south of the Texas border in Mexico.
But what makes this fly such a concern? Dr. Sonia Swiger, an entomologist with Texas AgriLife Extension, says screwworms will lay their eggs on living animals, which then hatch into larvae.
They have these mouth hooks. They put those down into the tissue and kind of screw, in a sense, their way into the body,
attracting more flies that will lay more eggs, eventually killing the animal if left untreated.
One female lays about 200 to 300 eggs. So we have all these larvae feeding on to this one animal. So it's really that the system shuts down because it's being attacked.
And now that threat is moving right towards the state with the largest livestock industry in the U.S.
All indications say that the pest is going to continue moving north.
However, this wouldn't be the first time the state has dealt with a screwworm infestation.
The last time that they were in the U.S. was in the 1970s, and it took 30-something years to get that pest pushed out of Texas and then in through Mexico and down to Panama,
killing hundreds of thousands of livestock and costing the state millions of dollars.
Today, that moves up into the billions with not only the livestock industry, but also the tremendously important wildlife and hunting industries.
How they eradicated the screwworm then is by releasing sterile male flies to break their life cycle.
Oh, that's clever.
All right. So I still been trying to pull this up. Much as I bet they will insist all cows be killed. Man, they gotta leave the cows alone. All right, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go off really quick. Don't go anywhere though. I'm gonna try to crop this to where you can see it a little bit better. So only thing I got on the other side is I'm pulling some of this up about this screwworm. And hold up, I'm gonna try to put this on screen for y'all. Spreading in Central America, not currently detected in the U.S. is untreated. In fact, livestock, people. See, this right here is actually what I was trying to make a little bit bigger so you can get a closer look, but I don't think I can. So we're gonna have to just go with this. While most reports will likely come through veterinarians and diagnosis laboratories, we need everyone to be on the lookout. This disease seriously have catastrophic impacts on U.S. agriculture and animals. So they're saying here that yes, what I was just saying about how it's going to affect the food supply, it can affect plants and crops, it looks like. So it's definitely some.
Our special fried rice, sir? Make tonight rice night with Sunrise.
Download the Sky News Australia app and never miss breaking news again. Get it on your phone, your tablet, or your smart TV.
Dad, I'm sick.
UpDoc makes healthcare seriously accessible. It's the platform that connects you.
Australia can be a tough place for tough people, but there is a place.
Biological plan that they're orchestrating here, whoever's behind this. Again, like I was saying though, the BioShield protocol, like I'm saying, like all of that, having that is the emergency backup plan and supply system for when you're going through these emergencies. You'll have the protocol, you'll have the steps, you'll have the situational aspects of everything that you pretty much need to do, and how to combine certain things. We go through all the educational knowledge on that. We also talk about frequency killing of parasites, which is another huge thing. That's in the chat right now. Like I said, if you want to get that, because that's going to be important. Somebody says, watch the water, people. Yeah, watch the water for sure. It's going to be a clear pathway of something that we need to be looking at. That's going to be, we're going to be reporting on all of that. We're going to be reporting on these upcoming situations. We want to try to get some footage on some of the stuff that's happening too. Catnip says, thank you for that. Another person says, all these things are distractions from the bottom line. Where do they want to accomplish? What do they want to accomplish? We clearly know by Agenda 2030 what they want to accomplish. It's the ending of family, it's the ending of the whole structure, the ending of agriculture, ending of you having a farm, ending of all of that. That's what they actually want to accomplish at the end of all of this. We've been studying it for years, just like you've been studying it for years. They also want to create a technocratic dictatorship, meaning that we already had the technical big tech sworn in to the military, showing you that we're going to have tech leaders to rule. And they put that bill in, which under the so-called name of quoted Big Beautiful Bill, that freaking name, under that bill, the AI was going to have control where senators won't be in control anymore. We read the subsections of all that. We don't have to put it up again. And so all this is research has been previously done here where we dive deep into this. And now we're just at the precipice seeing everything play out and everything all evolve at one sequence here. So somebody says, hello, JWTV family. What's going on, Matt D? Georgia Guidestones were blown up a few years ago. Yeah, I remember exactly when that happened. So over the next course of weeks, months, this is going to be a huge, I got it, y'all. What they're doing with the dogs, so the dogs are going to smell for these screw worms. And they're doing this because this is going to be one of the other protocols. I got the video clip right here. So yeah, here's the dogs being trained right now to detect the freaking screw worms. This dog looks like my dog, actually. Looks like my dog, Chloe. But yeah, so my big thing is before I was going out, even in 2020, when people were coughing and I knew people were getting sick and I didn't get sick none of the whole time. This is what I did, my personal experience. I took the colloidal silver and I just put a little bit on my skin before I went out because I had read military documents where they were doing that when they go into biological areas. So I only did that though whenever there was a time where the world was at this point where people had lower immune systems. So I was infected. Also would do a small layer around inside of my nostrils. And inside of my nostrils. So, the only thing I really ate during that time, my big thing on Mondays, it was red beans and rice, which is a huge immune booster, by the way. Freaking eggs. I wake up on eggs. Me and my fiance, and basically with those eggs, it was just, grass-fed eggs, grass-fed, pretty much chicken. And that's my big thing. Like, honestly, it's just simple. They try to say, cholesterol, all this stuff. If you do more deep research into the whole cholesterol nonsense, you'll find out everything. And I was looking at some doctors who was talking about all this, and it's really, eggs are one of the most significant proteins your body quickly gets. I eat meat, yeah, I do. But I'm saying, like, in the morning time, that's what I start my day with. And yes, we have lots of corrective food supply, everything else. So let's see something here real quick. Yeah, so this scenario right here is definitely another attack, but I'm very glad everybody tuned in here to get this knowledge, because what's going to happen here is that we didn't only just have fog parasites that we exposed earlier in the year. That was the first line reason why we created the ebook, the BioShield Protocol, because we said, you know what? If there is so many bad things happening in the world, why can't there be an educational solution? Why can't there be a backup emergency book for these scenarios? And here's the Mexico, the governor and president of Mexico, something like that, who basically was talking about the border closing due to the screw worms. So the parasite warfare is another art of warfare. It's not something that we can't defeat. I mean, we got the tool
Okay, guys, I'm out. God bless.
to fight back. The question is, will you use the tools? That's the only question here. The question is not fear. The question is knowledge and education about the situation. And that's what we've been going through this whole journey. We've all been going through the same things together. A lot of people having issues